Everyone. My name is Donaji, and I am going to be speaking today about personal health and wellness as it relates to effective management. I own a company I've owned it for over 30 years. It's called Event Professionals. It's a full service catering and event planning company. I first started off as a banquet manager, director of a catering company, and I quickly found out that not having a wedding coordinator was very difficult for us to know exactly when the toast was happening, the grand entrance, and all the other things that happen throughout a wedding and a timeline. So I stepped in as a coordinator and found that it is absolutely necessary. So what I found also is that it's a very demanding job. It's very rewarding. I love what I do. I can't complain about falling into this field because I love it. Uh, but I did want to share how it could physically also affect you emotionally, mentally, because it can really drain you. So, what I'll be speaking about today are just some examples of how to be able to balance work and your well being. Why wellness matters in hospitality. It matters because it is uh, physically demanding. For example, if you're catering, we have to load everything that's needed for the party: tables, chairs, linens. We have to also plan in the office as well, do a lot of the planning. So that's a lot of office work and also working out on the field. There are a lot of things that need to be done as far as confirming vendors, confirming the employees, finalizing all the details with the bride and groom. Employees usually work, I'm sorry, long hours, and it's very stressful. And uh, if the employees do not handle being stressed, and that can also affect the experience that the guests may have. So it's important that employees understand that they also need to have a balance and not allow themselves to get stressed and find ways to be able to cope. I also found that many of the coordinators that I have hired come in very excited and they say they love it. They want to do this for the rest of their life. But I quickly find out after a year or two that they're burned out. And one of the reasons is that they end up realizing that it's a very demanding job. You have to work weekends, you have to work nights, you have to work holidays. So a lot of times they're away from being with the family, being with their uh, boyfriend, girlfriend, with their children. So I do find that they burn out. So it is important to be able to find a balance. So, physical wellness, it is important that the employees take breaks. So, I do encourage them to take their 15-minute break. And then also, I always feed the employees. I always make sure that they have a nice meal. Some companies, I know that they offer a sandwich or don't offer any food, but for an event, we serve them the same food that the guests are getting. And I feel that they really appreciate that, and I ask them to sit down. I'm really try to be nice to everybody just to make sure that it creates a really good culture for work. And if I'm positive, then they'll be positive. And one of the suggestions I always give the coordinators is to bring an extra pair of shoes, comfortable shoes. I usually start off with working with in tennis shoes and just some nice, comfortable setup clothes. But once the clients arrive, then I do quickly change into my professional clothes. And professional clothes can be just something that's light. Also depends on the place we're working at. Sometimes we're working outside, we're working in the sun, so you need to wear a hat, you need to bring your water bottle. I always encourage to bring snacks, some healthy snacks. And this helps to manage exhaustion too. And I also when we have big events, I'll bring water bottles so everyone can have water bottles. And I also like to bring snacks too, so everybody can have snacks as well for working like a 16-hour day. The mental and emotional wellness. So managing stress professionally, it's very important to do that because we are working with many type of people, different personalities, and sometimes it can be very stressful for the bride and groom, for the family, for even the vendors that, for example, the photographers, they need to get those shots, they're stressed. So we have to always just be positive, smile, and we have to find ways to cope. So I always have told the coordinators that they can come to me if they feel they can't handle a situation, even though I'd like them to learn how to handle situations. It is okay to call me, and we all have those times where we can't handle pressure, so it's good to have somebody to go to. And what I find too is very important is that you have to remain calm under pressure. I took a class for an airline. I worked for United Airlines before I started working as a coordinator. And something that they taught us is that if you are a flight attendant, when you are standing at the front of all the passengers, that you can't show fear, because if they see fear in you, then they're going to feel fear. So even if something's happening, you always have to stand there, smile, be calm, and be in control. So that's very important. And also have positive communication. So one of the ways that I have found for myself to have a work-life balance is to exercise and also go to church. I also go with my friend to have a spa day, have coffee, have lunch. And it's very important to get good sleep, especially before an event, because those hours can be long. Sometimes I wake up at 6 in the morning and I might not be done until 1 or 2 a.m. And then by the time I get home, it's like 3 a.m. So it's important to get rest ahead of time. So leadership responsibilities. So we have to have a meeting every Tuesday. So what we do on Tuesdays is I usually order lunch, and then we discuss the events that just passed and things that worked and things that didn't work. And this just helps improve us doing a better job, what could have been better and what worked, so we can continue to do that. And it's important to have good communication, and I like to have everybody be able to speak. I want everyone to feel like they're included and appreciated and that they're valued, and that makes them feel good. And I also do a lot of training. I have an employee manual that I start when I first hire somebody. How I usually train them is they'll sit with me, they'll shadow me for about 2 weeks, and they'll sit in with all my consultations with the bride and groom, whether it's an initial first sales or I show them how to close a sale. I show them how to do the booking process, which means that they're booking. So I have them sign the contract, how they do a deposit. I show them how to check emails, respond to an inquiry, and how to get them to come in to meet with me. So usually when they meet with me, if they like the services that we offer and they are okay with the estimate, we have them come in for a food tasting. So the employees will also experience what it is to do a food tasting. They'll sit in with me to do the timeline and also to confirm the vendors. The vendors get a final timeline. They'll work with me at the event. So it is a lot that they're taking in, but I'm very proud to say that many of the girls and guys that have worked for me have actually gone on to start their own business as event coordinators. So that's very exciting for me because it makes me feel that I'm doing a good job. The Training reduces stress because when I'm training them, then they better understand what is expected of them, and then they can also ask questions if they're unsure of something. Even though some of the people that I have hired have gone to event planning schools like Collins School of Hospitality, or they might have worked somewhere else. Everyone does things differently, so it makes me feel more confident knowing that uh, they can ask questions. Then I also train them. I do give them the employee manual and I do go over it with them. And they also, again, they shadow me, and I also teach them that not everybody is the same. So some of the couples that come in are shy, so you have to talk in a little bit lower tone, make them feel comfortable. Some people are a little bit more excited and bubbly, and you have to sometimes match their energy, is what I tell them. So training them is extremely helpful for the employee, not just for example, throw them in. So, there's sometimes situations that we've had that are a problem, but we have to understand that that comes with the territory. I think one of the biggest something that's very difficult to experience at an event is rain, because rain, you have there's no way to, you can prepare for it. So this is a dilemma that I have sometimes, is that I can look at the forecast and I can see that it might be 20, 30, 40% chance of rain. My dilemma comes in where the bride and groom refuse to pay anything extra to put up a tent. And so my first lesson is that when it first happened to me, it rained, and there was nothing I could do. The bride was very upset, and the groom, even though I had strongly suggested having a tent. So having a contingency plan is very important. And if there's a way to have them sign or even email them, for example, there's rain possibly happening, I highly encourage you to get a tent. If it's emailed, then this clears you from them trying to put blame on you, which it sounds interesting because you would think, why would they blame me for rain? But it actually has happened many times. They'll be upset. The other concern I might have, for example, is a lot of people like doing, for example, in this picture, you see a lot of the sparklers, and they like to do the exit. But that can be very, very dangerous because somebody's hair could easily catch on fire. So we do put water tubs so they can easily put it out, but it is something, for example, that you also don't want to be responsible for. So also being able to communicate what works and doesn't work. For example, you can always tell the bride and groom that you don't want an accident to happen. That would just be not worth doing it. So then I do bring other suggestions, like there's streamers, which sometimes the venues don't like, but you can always ask. Or there's also these glow sticks that look really pretty in pictures. And also, you have to also still check on the day of that everything that's on your list, on your checklist, that all the personal items were put out, that the seating is put out correctly. For example, I did an event this last week of May 5th on a Tuesday. It was actually a funeral, it wasn't a wedding. But I had the venue set up the tables and chairs, but I noticed that we had one floral centerpiece that was extra, so that prompted me to count the tables, which I should actually do automatically, but in this case I didn't. The, so I realized that they were missing a table, so we were able to catch that before. So there's things that happen in the events itself. As much as you plan, you still have to uh, check everything that it's the way it was scheduled to be. So my conclusion is that yes, weddings are absolutely wonderful, exciting. I love weddings. There is a high price to pay, which is it's a very, very stressful job. But for that reason, it's important to have a balance. So I have learned not to take more than what I can handle. So, not try to just take on every wedding, try to have a balance and say, for example, I can only do so much per month or per year. And as you have your own weddings and you can determine what you can handle, because it is very important to also have a personal life. I just really want to stress that because I have my son that is now 24 and he's graduating this Friday with from event planning as well from Collins School of Hospitality. But what I can say is a big part of him as a baby, I missed out because I was so focused on getting my business off the ground. So you want to have a personal life, you want to have also what you do. So you just have to find a balance and make sure that you are taking care of you first, so that you can ultimately be successful, which with your company or when you work for someone. And these are the references that I used, and thank you so much. Bye bye.